Okay, good morning, everyone. It's the 18th of February. Let's make sure that everything here is running smoothly, and let's get started. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. We're continuing today talking about the Mishkan. You should be able to see up the Chumash, and on the side of that, a picture of where we are in the Mishkan. We talked about yesterday those rings and the connector and how each of the amudim, each of the planks are an amma and a half in its width and 10 ammas in its height. And the total length of the Mishkan is 30 ammas, and the width of the Mishkan is 10 ammas. Now let's get to the pareiches. That's what we're going to talk about today. Thank God I have some pictures that you're going to see of the pareiches. So let's get straight to the pareiches. There are two sides to the pareiches that we're going to show you. Let's get in. Pasuk Lamed Aleph. V'asisa pareiches tcheles v'argamon v'seilas shani v'sheish mashzar maaseh cheshev yasa isim kruvim. You shall make a pareiches, curtain, blue, purple, and crimson wool, twisted fine linen, the work of a master weaver, and they should make kruvim. Kruvim, like Rashi's going to say, is designs of creatures on it. Actually, one side, you can see one side of the picture of the pareiches was lions, and the other side right here was eagles. So you had lions and eagles embroidered into the design of the pareiches, which had blue, purple, wool. Let's look at some of the Rashi. Lashain mechitzahu. The pareiches is like a divider, and that's actually its purpose. Its purpose was to divide between the part where the arnakid, the arin was, and the rest of the Mishkan, where the Mizbeach was, where the altar and the menorah was. This was a divider between the two. Tcheles ve'argamon. Each type was doubled in each thread with 6 strands. That's what the Gemara in Saita and Yaima says. That's how it was woven. Maisa cheshev. It was the work of a master weaver. Kfar pirashti shezuhi ariga shal shnei kiros v'atziyorim mimishne ivrea inim doinim ze loze. I've already explained that this is weaving of 2 walls, and the designs on both sides of it are unlike one another. Like I just explained before, the pareiches had 2 different images on each side of the pareiches. One side had a lion, the other side had an eagle. All right, let's go to the next pasuk. Oh, whoops, somebody's waiting to be admitted. Okay, let's go into the next pasuk. V'nasat yosem al arboya mudish shitim mitzufim zav v'vaveim zav al arba adnei kasef. You can see in the next picture exactly how this pasuk is saying it. You shall place it on 4 pillars of acacia wood, overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be gold on silver sockets. You can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 4, just like the amudim that make up the entire Mishkan, the planks that make up the entire walls of the Mishkan. So too over here, you have 4 pillars that hold up this pareiches, this curtain. So Rashi is going to explain exactly where in the Mishkan this curtain is placed. If you look at the picture, it's actually very particular. There is more to one side than there is to the other side of the pareches. In the next picture, you can actually see it even clearer. The amount of space, Rashi explains, the amount of space from the inner part, the inner room of the pareches, of the Mishkan, was 10 amos, which means that the wider part, this part right over here, was 20 amos, because the total length was 30 amos, which means if the divider is at the 1/3 mark, at the 1/3 yard line, that means that there are 10 amos on one side and 20 amos on the other side. Okay. V'nasata es hapareches tachas hakrashim. You shall place the divider, the dividing curtain, beneath the clasps. Ve'vesa shama mi beis lapareches es arein ha'edus. And on the inner side, on the smaller room, you should put the Ark of the Testimony, the Aron. Ve'evdila pareches lachem ben kodesh uben kodesh hakadashim. And that's what the purpose of the divider was. It separated between the holy and the holy of holies, the kodesh and the kodesh hakadashim. Pasuk Lamed Daled, verse number 34. V'nasatas hakapiras al arena edus b'kodesh hakadashim. You shall place the ark cover over the ark of the arena edus that was in the kodesh hakadashim. V'samtas hashulchan. Now we're going to talk about the other things. What other things that were inside the wider, in the bigger area of the Mishkan? What was inside there? You should put the shulchan. This is the shulchan. Michutz lapareches, on the outer side of the divider. In other words, on the larger side. Ves hamenorah neichach hashulchan, and the menorah opposite the table. This is the menorah right over here. These look like just steps to light the menorah, because the menorah was actually quite tall. And the shulchan should be placed on the northern side. So we already know. So we know that if the shulchan was on the northern side, that means that the menorah was on the southern side, because it says it was opposite the shulchan. And it's going to say exactly where these were placed in the large room, where its placement was in this room. Remember, the place where the Aron Kodesh, where the Aron HaEdus in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, that room was 10 amos, exactly 10 amos by 10 amos. But this other room is more of a rectangle. It's the outer room is 10 amos in its width, right over here, 10 amos, but in its length, it's actually 20 amos. So where exactly is it put? We're going to find out. The table, let's look at Rashi. The table was in the north. It was on the north side, like we say, like it says in the actual pasuk, but it wasn't right against the wall. It was 2.5 amos, like you could see right over here in this picture. Pictures are amazing. And you see this 2.5 amos, this little space right over here with my arrow. That space was 2.5 amos. And the same thing, the menorah was also on the against the southern wall, also 2.5 amos away. The golden altar, which is this, was placed opposite the space between the two of them. Not in between them, but opposite that, a short distance towards the east, towards the entrance of the Mishkan. And okay, the length of the Mishkan from the entrance to the dividing wall, like we said, was 20 amos. The altar, the table, and the menorah were drawn away from the entrance toward the western side, 10 amos. So they were exactly in the middle. They were 10 amos from the entrance and 10 amos from the paroiches that divides between the Kodesh HaKadoshim and just Kodesh, the Holy of Holies from the Holy. Okay, verse number 36. Ve'asisa masach lapesach ha'oyel chelis v'argaman v'selas shni v'sheish masar masarekim. And you shall make a screen for the entrance of the tent. So not just you need a pareches at the to divide between the Kodesh HaKadoshim and the Kodesh, you should actually have also, here's the picture of an entrance pareches all the way at the eastern side, at the entrance, you should have this pareches. And it was also made of blue, purple, and crimson wool. Let's look at Rashi. Vasisa masach, and you shall make a screen, like a protector, curtain that is a protector opposite the entrance. Masach, the work of an embroiderer. This vitzuris, the figures, the pictures, the animals, asuyes by maise machat. They were produced with needlework. Just as the face was on one side, so was the face on the other side. Reikim, an embroiderer. Shem ha'uman. It's the name of a craftsman. In case you weren't sure what an embroiderer is, this is Rashi's explaining. This is a craft. It's not the name of the craft. It's the name of a craftsman. Leishema umnois v'targumai oived tzayer. Not artistry, but the actual artist. Midas hamasach kimidas hapareches. The measurement of the screen was the same measurement as the actual pareches, because remember, it's going the same exact width of 10 amas and the same exact height of 10 amas. So the screen to get the pareches that was made to go into the entire Mishkan is the same size as the pareches that's in the 1/3 to block between the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKadoshim. Vasisa lamasa chamisha amudei shitim v'tzipaisei sam zav v'vaveim zav v'yatzakta lahem chamisha adnei nechayshas. And you shall make for the screen 5 pillars. So before it just had 4 pillars. This one actually has 5 pillars to hold up the entranceway of the pareches at the entranceway of the Mishkan. They overlay them with gold. Their hooks shall be gold, and you shall cast for them 5 copper sockets. So there's a little bit different between the two. One had silver sockets and only 4, and one had 5 copper sockets, but both of them had hooks that were made of gold. All right, that is today's Chumash. Let's go to today's Tanya. So we don't need this any longer. Okay. So we're talking again about the simcha, and yesterday we were talking about, how simcha comes completely from kedusha, whereas atzvos, comes from klipas neiga, but is possible to be used for good, and it's like a means. It's not an end, chas v'shalom, in itself. It's not an end in itself. It's a means to come to a greater joy. So v'achar kach, the Alter Rebbe continues, after this type of atzvos, yavai lidei simcha amitis. And remember, we talked about the atzvos is not about it's a spiritual, it's something that you're delving and upset about your spiritual state, not your physical state. So this will make you arrive to a true joy. Dahainu shezois yashiv el libay lenachmai bechveilayim achra dvarim va'emes ha'ela niskar la'el. In order to comfort his heart in double measure, let him, in the wake of the above words of truth, tell himself the following. This is exactly what someone can say to themselves that will bring them to this type of ava and joy. Leimar lelibay, to say in his heart, emes hu kain b'li safek, shani roichek me'oid me'Hashem betachlis. It's true. B'li safek, without a doubt, I am far from Hashem, and I am despicable, contemptible, and so on. Yes. However, akol zeh hu ani levadi, hu aguf. This that we're talking about that is so far from Hashem, that's just my body and my nefesh hachiyunis. the animating soul within it. Aval mikol makom yesh b'kirbi chelek Hashem mamish. Within me, there's a part of Hashem, sheyeshne afilu b'kal shebekalim, which is in everybody, every single person, even kal shebekalim, even the most worthless of my fellows. What is this that's inside me? What's this chelek Hashem? She nefesh elikis. This is a godly soul. In nitzutz elikus mamish, with a nitzutz elikis, with a spark of godliness, which is inside it. Rakshi b'chinas galus. Only that it's in galus inside the body. V'im kain. We're all continuing what a person should be saying, what a person will say to oneself. That yes, this that I'm so lowly and I have animalistic desires and I have jealousy and other things, this is all my goof. But I have also a nefesh elikis, a chelek elikami mal mamish. I have a part of God in me as well. And it's just in Golus. V'im kain, and if so, adrabah. Kol mashani betachlis arichuk Hashem v'atiyu v'shikutz. Hari nefesh elikis should be begolus gadol yaser. V'arachmanas aleh gadol miyait. If so, then on the contrary, the further I am removed from Hashem, that means that my nefesh elikis, my divine godly soul, is more egolus. And it's more to take pity on this situation. Well, again, you're continuing to talk to yourself. I need to make it my entire goal, my entire aim, my entire desire to pull it out, to schlep it out from this golus, from this exile. Base of via kinureh, to return it to its father's house, to its original state, to the state of its youth. Before it was clothed in a body. It was completely united with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Hashem. So all I'm trying to do is return it to where it came from. V'gam ata kain. Now too, tiye klulo myochadas b'yis barach. Now too, it can be absorbed and united with Hashem. Kisha'asim kol megamasi b'Torah b'mitzvah lahalbish b'hem kol eser b'chinas k'niska la'el. When you concentrate on all your aspirations of Torah and mitzvahs, that can clothe it on the 10 faculties like we explained. This will be able to schlep it out from the blata. You'll be able to schlep it out from a situation where it's separate from Hashem, separate from godliness. The Alter Rebbe continues, Befrat, the mitzvah's tefillah, especially with tefillah is has unique capabilities to accomplish this. Litzoik el Hashem b'tzarla migalusa begufa hamshuka. When you cry out to God because of the distress of the fact that your soul is in exile in this body, and you cry out that it should release it from captivity and become one with Hashem. V'zu v'zoi hi b'chinas shuva u'maisim tovim. This service of God, in which one seeks to restore the soul to its source, is called Tshuva Maisim Tovim. It might seem like actually a paradox. Tshuva is talking about the past. Maisim Tovim is talking about the future. Shehem Maisim Tovim Sha'osim. Why are they together? Tshuva Maisim Tovim, because actually Maisim Tovim that we do, it's kedei lahashav chelek Hashem limkoiro l'shorsham d'chol almin. This Ma'asim Tovim that we're doing now will do tshuva, which comes from the lashon of shuv, lahashiv, to return. This returns the chelek Hashem, the godly spark, from being completely hidden and in distress in the body, and it reveals it to be what it truly was to begin with, a chelek of Hashem, a godly spark and a part of Hashem. It was a pleasure today to learn with you the Chitas, the Chumash, and the Tanya. A quick synopsis of the Chumash was that we talked about the Pareiches. The Pareiches was 10 feet high, just like the Mishkan, and it was 10 feet wide, the width of the Mishkan, and it had images on it, and it was at the 1/3 mark. So if you have 30 amas, it was at the 10 amma mark from the back and 20 amas from the front, and that's where the Aron was in the smaller portion, and in the larger portion was the shulchan and the mizbeach, the table and the mizbeach and the menorah, and at the entrance was another pareiches, the same height. The Tanya, what we talked about today, was that today was actually a very important Tanya. It explained what one can tell oneself to not be depressed about their spiritual situation, to understand that this is just the body that's in that situation, but the actual soul, the chelek elka of Hashem, that actually we're just returning it to its original state when it wasn't bogged down with physical needs and physical constraints. Everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I look forward to learning with you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
My pleasure.
Have a good day.